What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. I am a mechanical engineer with an MBA, and I have taught finance for over 20 years. And in this podcast, everybody, we're going to talk about 7 major financial mistakes that the poor and the lower middle class make. So with that, let's get started. The first major mistake that the poor and the lower middle class make, everybody, is that they have no emergency fund. So firstly, what exactly is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is essentially when you create a budget, and from that budget, you basically determine how much money you are spending every month. And from how much money you are spending every month, you can determine what your bills are, as well as how much you are making. So for instance, let's say you make $2,000 a month, and your bills are $1,000 a month. In order to have a 3-month emergency fund, you need $3,000. Why? Because you have $3,000 of extra money that needs to be available. So if you live dollar to dollar and you essentially have no emergency fund, everybody, you are literally a disaster that is waiting to happen. So let's say your car breaks down, or let's say you have a major medical emergency, or let's say you lose your job and you get fired, or let's say you have a major home repair or a major apartment repair, or let's say your son or your daughter breaks their leg. In the event you have no emergency fund, you are literally going to have your savings wiped out. And having a fully stocked emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 months, gives you mental peace, it gives you emotional security, and it gives you a great financial base, knowing that if something bad happens, you can essentially take care of yourself. You don't have to run to a credit card essentially to pay for your bills. The first major mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes, everybody, is that they do not have an emergency fund. The next major mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes is that they rely on debt and credit cards to essentially pay for their bills every month and for their daily living expenses. Every month, the poor and the lower middle class, everybody, they use credit cards, unfortunately, to pay a bill that they know they cannot pay without that credit card. And they routinely use things like payday loans, cash advance places, and buy now, pay later scams to essentially murder their ability to build any form of generational wealth. Payday loans, everybody, if you're not familiar with them, have interest rates and APRs that are literally sometimes as high as 300 to 700%. In my opinion, everybody, cash advance places and payday loan spots, which are typically always in the hood or always in the trailer parks, are literally the scum of the earth when it comes to business establishments. Why? Because they literally are designed to keep poor people poor. The next major financial mistake, everybody, that the poor and the lower middle class makes is that they rely on debt, i.e. credit cards, to pay their daily living expenses, and they have literally no hope of paying off that loan every month. The next major financial mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes, everybody, is that they don't budget or track their spending. I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier when I talked about the emergency fund, but at the end of the day, everybody, if you book a one-on-one session with me, the first thing that we do, and you can ask any of my clients, is that we go over your budget. And the reason why is simple. If you have no idea how much money you have going out and you have no how much money you have coming in, you are literally a disaster waiting to happen. Money often goes to things like fast food, Netflix and chill subscriptions, dating the wrong kind of people, and just in general, stupid things if you have no budget, because you have literally no idea what you should be spending your money on. And more importantly, you have no idea where you should not be spending your money and how much money you have coming in. And this invisible spending literally murders a person's ability to build any form of meaningful or generational wealth, because you once again have literally no idea how much money you have going out and you have no idea how much money you have coming in. The next major mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes, everybody, is they don't have a budget and they have no idea how to track their spending. Full disclosure, I typically use a Microsoft Excel sheet to track my spending, but with all the free apps that are out here, all the free different programs and things like that in regards to how you can track your spending, it is literally irresponsible in 2025. I don't care what your educational level is or what your computer competency levels are. It is literally irresponsible in 2025 to not have a budget, and I'm gonna keep it real with you about that. The next major financial mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes is that they focus on looking rich instead of actually getting rich. So, Instagram, making it rain at the club, buying bottles at the club, essentially buying cars that you can't afford, buying clothes that you can't afford, just so you can impress people that would never like you to begin with. That is essentially, unfortunately, the death spiral that a lot of people that are poor and in the lower middle class put themselves in by buying things that they flat out cannot afford. And it's not just for the inner cities either. I'm seeing the same thing with people who buy cowboy boots, who drive pickup trucks, who essentially go hunting and fishing. Essentially, everybody, trying to buy things you flat out cannot afford to impress people that would never like you is one of the dumbest things you can do, regardless of what your socioeconomic status is. Because I see even people that are millionaires doing this kind of garbage. always wearing the latest designer clothes, always trying to get the latest trends, always buying the newest iPhone, trying to essentially stunt and make yourself look quote unquote rich on the gram so that you can get likes and get people to like you, literally is murdering your ability to provide a brokerage account, a SEP IRA, or a 529 for your children. At the end of the day, if you would rather look rich than actually get rich, there's literally no hope for you when it comes to building generational wealth. The next major financial mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes, everybody, is that they focus on looking rich instead of actually getting rich. Before I go any further, everybody, please hit the notification button so you know when I drop new content. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the algorithm. And I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content here on Financipation. Also, if you are interested in sending your kid to college, check out my scholarship book, which will be purchased right here, where I go into detail and talk about all the different things I did to get over $300,000 to get my engineering degree for free in undergrad. I went to college for free, and so can you. Next, the next major financial mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes, everybody, is that they avoid or delay investing altogether. To me, everyone, this is the one that truly breaks my heart, and this is the one, to me, that kind of ticks me off about the educational system in the United States of America, because to me, I think a lot of ways it's literally designed to keep us poor. And this, to me, is literally the biggest killer of all when it comes to things I'm talking about in this list, and that is not investing early. If a person is 18 years old and they invested $250 a month into a broad market, total stock market index fund with low expenses and a high dividend ratio, but with that get returned 12% every year, that person will be a millionaire by the time they turned 50. But that same person waited until they were 30 years old, basically only 12 years later, and they invested $250 a month into that same broad market index fund that returned 12%. By the time they turned 50, they would only have $230,000 in that account. That is literally a $770,000 difference just because you started investing 12 years later in life. People, it's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. And compound interest and utilizing compound interest is literally the greatest thing you can do on your road to building generational wealth and financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. Missing compound interest, everybody, equals never catching up. And missing compound interest is literally the biggest mistake financially that you can make in your life. And this is the reason why it ticks me off about our public school systems, because this is the kind of stuff they should be teaching. They should be teaching kids at 6 and 7 years old, you need to be investing into the stock market. They should be teaching kids that are teenagers, this is the amount of money you need to put into your stocks so that you can essentially retire a debt-free millionaire by the time you're in your 40s or your 50s. The next major financial mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes, everybody, is that they avoid investing altogether, to the point where they literally kill the ability to build any form of generational wealth by missing out on compounding interest. Next. The next major financial mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes is that they are dependent on one low-paying job that doesn't require any skills or any certifications. So, Walmart greeters, flipping burgers at McDonald's, Wendy's, picking up trash on the construction site as a day laborer. Everyone, there is nothing inherently wrong about any of those jobs I just hit on saying, but the problem is they are low-paying, low-skill jobs that anyone can do. Relying on a low-skill, low-paying job is a surefire way to die poor. Not developing new skills, not getting a new certification, not learning any side hustles, not creating any side hustles, not doing anything to increase your income abilities to make more money is a surefire way to die broke. In general, everybody, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. If you are competing against a guy that does not speak English, or a guy that just got out of prison, or an individual who's in high school or who's in middle school for your job, you are probably doing something wrong in life. And I'm not trying to throw shade at you, I'm just telling it completely like it is. Because at the end of the day, everybody, you need to advance your skills to the point where not every Tom, Dick, and Harry can do your job. So, get that new certification, learn that trade, go back to college, get that other certification, get another degree, do everything you can possibly to essentially make yourself more valuable on the market. The next major financial mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes, everybody, is that they are dependent on a low-paying job and they never advance their skill set and they never advance their education or their skills. Next. The last major financial mistake, everybody, that the poor and the lower middle class makes is that they are constantly in survival mode and they don't have any long-term plan about how to get out of being poor. This is another one that breaks my heart because you essentially see it all the time. You see it at all the gyms you go to, you see it at your churches, you see it at your bars, you see it essentially at the people you hoop and play ball with at the Y. You see it everywhere. We see an individual who's actually a pretty good person. They're not a bad individual at all, man or woman. They work really hard at the job, at the low-paying, low-skill job that they have. But you can see it literally 30 years out, that person's gonna die broke. And it's really sad because these are the kind of individuals that are only typically thinking month to month, paycheck to paycheck. They don't improve their financial literacy. They don't have health insurance. They don't have a 401k. They don't have a Roth IRA. They don't have a SEP IRA. They don't have they don't invest in the stock market. They don't even know what the stock market is. They don't understand what expense ratios are. They don't understand essentially what dividend ratios are. These are the kind of individuals, everybody, that unfortunately, despite all the information we have available, podcasts like Financipation, books that are out there, blogs, things of that nature, that they never take the time to improve their financial literacy, and they never have set any long-term goals to improve their wealth. The last major financial mistake that the poor and the lower middle class makes, everybody, is that they are constantly in survival mode and they don't have any long-term plans about how to escape being in poverty. I will say this, however, the good thing is that if you do fit this description, and by poverty, everybody, I mean any individual in America that makes between $1,000 and $35,000, the good thing is if you are watching this podcast right now, you are in the right place, because here at Financipation, I have over 400 videos where I'm literally walking you through how to build generational wealth. And the same thing that I spent $125,000 learning in grad school to get my MBA, I'm teaching it to you for free on this channel. So literally, if you have no financial literacy, watch my podcast, watch my channels, share it with your friends, and start doing the things I talk about, because I will literally teach you to be rich. This channel, everybody, is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. You can book a one-on-one session with me at any point. The link is below. I am not giving you financial advice on this channel. You must make responsible decisions based on the thorough, independent research that you do for yourself. Secondly, I want you to check out this video right here, where I talk about all the signs of broke people, okay? This channel, Financipation, once again, everybody, is all about teaching people how to become wealthy. Please follow me at www.therealfinancipation.com. Check me out on Instagram, @thereal_financipation. My Spotify is Financipation. My TikTok is Financipation. Additionally, please check out my Facebook page, Financipation, and join the tribe. Additionally, please check out my financial blog where I talk about HSAs, the 4% rule, healthcare costs, and things of that nature, and essentially how to build generational wealth from a blogging perspective, okay? And check out some of my digital e-products below as well. Please hit the notification button. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to Killica Solutions. If you need digital marketing, website development, or something to essentially edit your YouTube videos, they're the best in the business, meeting all of your digital needs. It's your boy Chris, everybody. I'm out. Peace.